You're listening to the Daily Sales Tips Podcast, and I'm your host, Scott Ingram. Today, Jason Bay is back, and once again, I think you'll quickly understand why I've asked Jason to become a regular weekly contributor to the show. Here he is with today's tip.
So my wife, Sarah, and I, we run our business together, Blissful Prospecting, and we've been married for about 2 years now. And one thing that, as I've gotten to know her mom a little bit better, so her mom lives in New Jersey. We live here in Austin, Texas. And Sarah actually grew up in New York. And one of the things that, like I said, as I've gotten to know her mom a little bit better, is a little bit more about her philosophies around how she raised Sarah and why she is the way that she is. And one thing that she always talks about and always says is seeing is believing. It really stuck out to me. And when Sarah was young, they didn't have like a ton of money. Like her parents they immigrated from Korea, when she was like 1 year old. So they didn't have a lot of money, living in a big city. They always had to do the hustle of running businesses and that sort of thing. But one thing that Sarah's mom always made sure to do with Sarah was take her to museums, because museums were free. They really sacrificed a lot to make sure that they would go into the city and let her experience what it's like seeing all the big buildings and interacting with all the people. And one really important thing that they did is they really invested heavily in her education. And they ended up moving to, so if you could imagine Queens, if you're from New York, moving to Westchester, it's a complete 180. Moving from a place that is not necessarily low income, but does have a lot of low income families and schooling and like that sort of thing, to one of the most wealthiest places in the United States, in Westchester. And Sarah's family wasn't super wealthy at this time, but they made the sacrifice for her education because Sarah's mom wanted her to go to school with some of the smartest kids out there, and people that were kids of really successful parents, people that worked on Wall Street and had multi-million-dollar homes and like all that crazy sort of stuff. So how does this relate to prospecting? So this whole concept of seeing and believing is really relevant because a lot of the ways that we interact with our prospects are not in really very visual ways. We send a text-based email or we make a phone call and leave a voicemail. At no point does the prospect really ever get to see and believe what you can help them accomplish and the change or the problems that you can help them overcome. So the reason why that this is important is we don't ever paint a before and after picture unless you can visually show someone what that looks like, and it makes it real to them. So here's some of the things that you can do. One is you can send a video. So I use this a lot when I'm personally prospecting. We do this a lot for our clients. You can send a 30 to 60 second video to someone, and now they've been able to see a person that is attached to this email or these voicemails or these phone calls that you've been making. It makes it more real. They can empathize with you and that sort of thing. So just sending a quick introductory video and talking about why you're reaching out is a great way of doing this. Another one is through a case study. So if you're listening to this and you work at a big company, you might not have a lot of choice over the case studies and what you guys use. But my recommendation is, if you can work with marketing, and even if you get a 1 or 2 page case study that shows a before and after, something very visual, or it could be a short 30 to 60 second video that you guys make, like paint a really clear picture of what life looked like before for that company that you worked with and that person specifically that you dealt with, and then what the after was. What was the problem? What was the solution? How did you help them, etc.? That's another way that you can show people so they can see and believe what you're doing. And lastly, I've seen this work really well with SaaS companies, especially. So if you have a product that you can demo, you could record a 30 to 60 second short screen share of you showing a specific feature, and you can customize this for the prospect. You can say, hey, wanted to show you something really quick that I think would be really applicable for you. You show it to them in 30, 60 seconds. Maybe it's a specific feature or something like that. And then the call to action could be, hey, if this was helpful, let me know. I'm happy to send another video to you. And that could be the call to action so that you can get a conversation started with these videos. So hopefully that gives you some ideas, but remember that a lot of the interaction that we have with prospects is not in a visual way. And what they're really, really struggling with is seeing exactly how you can help them so they can believe that you're a person or you're a company that might be able to help them solve their problems.
For more about Jason and all things blissful prospecting, click over to dailysales.tips/198. And if you've got an example of how you've applied this seeing is believing concept, we'd love to hear it. Share it in the comments. The more visual, the better, so we can see what you're talking about. Thanks for listening, and be sure to stop by tomorrow for another great sales tip.